Ladies and gentlemen, gentle boys and gentle girls, welcome to 2025. So for the next 365 days, we are going to work hard to progress and achieve all our goals, whatever they may be. For some 260 days of this year, Jasiri will be your companion for the stories, the people, the conversations, the trends, and much more that will shape this new year, 2025. We have to say it a lot to get used to it. And so, like the last, we'll dive into deep issues that matter most. We'll shine a light on the people driving change. We'll share the stories that touch hearts and will inspire action. So together, we will navigate the triumphs, the challenges, the moments that define our times. So now, ladies, one of the things I like reminding myself of is who I am. Sometimes we can forget all we have accomplished. So, whatever better way to set the tone for this year than to let the world know who you're dealing with. I'll start. I am Catherine Obiang.
And your accomplishments.
Hey!
Yes.
Hey!
You're more than just a name.
Reel them out, reel them out.
You're more than just a name.
Mother, actor, philanthropist, cook.
She has not philanthropy to my side, though.
It's moving small, small.
No, it's moving small. I wear many caps. Lolo was spot on. A mother, a broadcaster, a cook
When she has to.
Cleaner.
When she has to.
Homemaker.
when the
Domesticated.
I think we should
house help.
ask each one of us on the table what we know about, like what is the person,
that's a
what
good
we
idea.
know about. Why do you say that's a good idea? Blessings, I don't trust you.
No, I would.
What about somebody? Look
I
at
mean,
Tolu
when I
and see.
so
started with
immediately,
you.
immediately you said that, I wanted to say resilient. Like that's when I see you. Like really, Catherine is a strong woman. Honestly, you see.
Yeah, they shut her up.
Catherine is a beautiful woman. She just has a way of looking ageless. Ever since I've known her, I've never seen her weight fluctuate. She just stays like this.
It's not how we planned it, but it's how it's going.
That's what I see.
And for me, Catherine is multifaceted. She's very complex. She has depths. And there's one thing I love
Definitely,
more in my life than seeing women who are multidimensional, multifaceted, and have multiple layers to them. That's you.
Take it all in. Take it all in. This is the year we accept all that we are. So take
Every single last one of it. So, Auntie?
Miss Blessing.
My name is Blessings Musugu, a budding veteran, as I like to call myself, an all-round media goddess, a fashion designer extraordinaire, a singer extraordinaire. Watch out for me.
We're out watching. So what is Blessings to us?
For me, I just think Blessings is very talented. I like the nuance of her voice. I think that's the best thing for me. I like the way she sounds. I like to listen to her. I like to watch her. I think I channel her through you when she's not here. Yes.
I think when I see Blessings, I see someone who knows exactly what she wants. She may not portray it all the time. That's why sometimes when she says some things, she struggles with. I don't see that. Blessings it gets where she did go. That's where Blessings is going. She's ambitious. She's not afraid to push herself. Put Blessings in the middle of it, not on the streets or reporting, or not where they are shooting, her hair. But Blessings pushes. So when I see her, I'm excited for her future.
Yeah,
really.
Again, unfortunately, Catherine took my word because it's ambitious. Yes, it's ambitious. She's very ambitious.
Yes.
She's focused.
Yes.
Sometimes I think she can be hyper-focused, but that focus will take you places. It will take you a lot of places, especially in this 2025. Somebody should have told us to bring tissue.
honestly,
Yeah, because that hyper-focus will take you, that ambition will take you into great, great places and put your feet firmly on the path that you want to tread. Yeah?
You're doing
You cried yesterday,
I'm not crying today.
Are you sure you're not crying today?
I cry every day. What's wrong with me? I'm very in tune with
my day is
emotions.
made.
All right, Lolo.
My name is Omotunde Adebowale-David, but a lot of people call me Lolo One. I love being a mother to my children. I'm a movie producer. I'm a filmmaker. I love to sing. I am an author. I have an NGO I founded like 20-something years ago. I love to do motivation. I'm a budding businesswoman. I would do better at business. Business is not my strong point, but it's something I really cherish. I wish I could do better at. So I just would say I'm an all-round media entrepreneur, so to say.
Now, when I see Lolo, the first thing that comes, Lolo is sweet.
Yeah.
Lolo is sweet. Take it from us. And there's a certain naivete comes with this.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
refreshing.
Yes.
Now you're taking my
The
own
rest of
words.
us are jaded. We are jaded.
You cannot, Lolo, yeah. Let's leave it at naivety.
Yeah.
She's sweet, and then there's a naivety that comes with it that you just look at her sometimes and like,
Are you for real?
I think I would say it's innocence, a kind of innocence. And so I've learned a lot from Lolo. Lolo is not scared to actually own up to what she doesn't know or accept what she doesn't know. She would tell you, it's just yesterday I learned something. I didn't know that before. I don't do it. You know, and she says it and you will see her actually excitedly using what she just learned. She will learn a word from Tolu and she's like, oh, and Tolu would say this. I see her echoing this. Lolo is just so, you have a beautiful heart.
Yes.
Lolo does not like stress. You know, like a lot of times she just wants things to, Lolo has this fantasy where she wakes up in the morning and everything is all rosy. She does not want stress at all. So anything that doesn't go that way is like, do you guys believe what happened to me today? Lolo is so sweet.
I said no crying.
You're so sweet. And I
So-
pray that nobody uses that against you.
Amen.
They do, but
That part is Lolo for me. While life will throw its punches, Lolo will be like a duck with water just rolling off her back. She'll take the punches and she gets up and she goes. She's resilient for me. I've known her for so many years now, and it's just amazing to see how life has given her so many lemons. And she's made so many lemonades. Lolo refuses to give up.
Yeah.
And even she sees something, she's like, okay, I want to try it. She's not afraid to try new things. She's not afraid, as you said, to learn new things. And I think that is just the big package that we have as Lolo One of Africa. And she's joyful. Because the rest of us can sometimes be doom and gloom. But Lolo will come in with her joy, with her sunlight and her sunshine, and just be radiating positivity. And
please, I want a recording of today. So that when glue wants to come, I bring the sunshine out.
All right, so finally, my name is Tolulokwe Adeleye Balogun. I am Reverend Dr. Adeleye Aya Rotimi Balogun. Good morning. What else am I? So yes, I'm a multi-talented, multi-something broadcaster, journalist. All of the ladies here, they forgot to say, we're all award-winning in our individual
Oh,
rights.
yes.
I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm director of programs for News Central. I wear many excessive hats. Sometimes I'm a therapist and I'm a sounding board for all of those who are close to me and people that I have vested interest in. I love to cook, absolutely love to cook. I like spending time with my friends, they know.
Yeah.
When we're done with work, put it down, let's go and pop some champagne, let's do, you know? Because as hard as I work, I want to play it as hard. I play hard.
Wow, what would we say about Tolu?
You go.
I just like the fact that she is very together. Ever since I've known Tolu, when it comes to professionalism, she has it 100%. Tolu can be dancing with you at a hotel, and she'll still be at work, and her script is being written while she's sitting there.
You're evil.
And you know, when I see women do that, it's no brainer that they excel at what they do because they know how to compartmentalize. That's something that I consider like a superpower because a lot of people get into blurry lines. Tolu hardly gets into blurry lines. And I like the fact that that head is on her shoulder. And that means when you have her, no matter how scattered, order will come. Yeah.
You're very right. I think Tolu also, for me...
I'm supposed to go accordingly.
It's supposed to be your life.
Like this.
Okay,
Stole it. Okay,
Sorry,
take.
baby.
Because she doesn't want you to steal her words.
Exactly. Enough of that.
There's not much words to go.
Oh, well, sorry. Okay.
So the first thing I'll say is, guys, if you've never seen Tolu in real life, her skin is like butter, honestly. Sometimes she's talking and I can't hear anything. I'm just like, how is she having such skin?
You know how much you spend on this.
So, I mean, she has such a beautiful skin. She has a beautiful smile. One thing that I admire, just like Lolo said, is how Tolu is very intelligent. Sometimes she's talking, I'm like, when will I get to this level in my career? You know, she's just saying things, you know, the federal government, I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm like, what did I do? You know, so she's very intelligent. She knows her onions. She really is who she says she is. And how she balances all of those things together, like I don't think you have an idea how many things Tolu juggles, and then she's still an amazing mother, an amazing cook. I mean, I'm just in the first few years of my career.
I'm not just cook,
I forgot about the kitchen entirely, you know. So that is so inspiring, honestly. Most times I look at her, I'm like, when I have a lot of things on my table, I want to start panicking. I'm like, nah, Tolu does this. So let's even if I can't fix it, like, let's just pretend like we know what we're doing. I love that so much.
I think we've all worked with Tolu in different capacities. Tolu and I have come a long way. Now Tolu is focused. Focused. Very intentional. Very intelligent. Like Blessing said. There's a softness to Tolu that people don't see. And that's because everybody's used to seeing her so put together. Tolu mummies everybody. Just give her the chance to mummy you. Go to Tolu's house, lie under the blankets and just sit down. Don't do anything.
Food will be coming.
Tolu will mummy you. One thing for me that stands out.
Don't cry.
When you are in Tolu's inner circle, and you make it to the
battalion.
Tolu, you know when they say, you know how you say, I got you? People say it and leave it. You see Tolu? Tolu got you, can put it in a handbag and be carrying it. She's as solid as that. And I think that's one thing all of us admire about you. It's hard, everybody has their struggles, but it's hard to imagine Tolu struggling because she's always so, when we're looking at radio, Tolu will come, this thing that Blessing said, Tolu will come and be speaking some things, we look at it and say, how do the chief have time to read this? We are all here. Benga, Tolu, then we're all, and how did she, but we were here together. So Tolu reminds me of the kind of students, classmates that
don't follow them.
You'll be playing 3 hours to exam. You go fail. She's jacking, you are there fooling yourself.
Yeah, and I would also say that one thing that Tolu has not lost is her humanity. Like she has the same demeanor when she's talking to you as a boss, and so sometimes you'll be like, Blessings, we need to talk. I'm like, what did I do? And like, are you okay? Like it just throws you off balance. You wouldn't know that she noticed it in the whole hustle and bustle. You would think that she's trying to ensure that the news goes on. She's doing that, but she also
in such a way that you break down.
Yeah,
she's just saying it,
bruh.
Before you know it. And when you finish, you're not clean your hands.
I'm hard girl.
But we love you.
They tear up on national TV.
Yeah.
I love everyone.
I love you guys.
No,
I'll say one thing, especially for women. This has been difficult to sit and take because I think too many of us run away from hearing compliments. So I challenge each and every one of us in this year. When someone is complimenting you on an accomplishment, no matter how small you think it is, take it. Sit down and revel in it. You've earned it. As in, you've earned whatever people have to say about you. And I learned there's something I've been doing for the past 2 years. It's called a brag sheet. So at the end of the year, I look back at everything. So once a month, once a week, I sit down. Okay, what do I feel like I really accomplished this week or this month? And then when you look back at it in 2024, you're like, bro. I did more than I thought I did.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that feeling came over all of us on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
When we're looking at moments. And guys, that wasn't even the half of it.
It wasn't. We didn't get to everything.
It made me go back. You know, we kept saying, oh, go and binge on our episodes. I went to binge on the episode. I found myself smiling too.
Okay, ladies, I mean,
no, we can't. We're going on a break.
We'll come back.
We'll move this to tomorrow.
we don't want to talk about last year. Last year is gone. It's a new year. So let's just go for a break now. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation.
So, welcome back to the show. This is Jasiri, the place for bold and daring conversation with 4 dynamic, incredibly intelligent women. So, if you're just joining us and missed the beginning of our show, change your ways.
Yeah.
This is a new year. Try to keep time. Today, we're taking a moment to look back on an incredible 2024. So join us as we revisit some guests and conversation that made a lasting impact on us. Let's dive in.
All right. Yesterday we shared some of our many viral moments. I'll start us off as we look to revisit some conversations. It's so beautiful to know that there is hope for the girl child with leaders like the former First Lady of Ekiti State, Erelu Bisi Adeleye-Fayemi, the co-founder of the African Women Development Fund. We spoke to her about the role of First Ladies, feminism, and more. Do take a look with us.
We were, looking at the situation of things for millions of Nigerian children across the country. The health statistics are woeful, education statistics are woeful. We are struggling, literally, to provide security, safety, and stability for who we call the leaders of tomorrow. And this year's theme for the World Children's Day is Listen to the Future. I'm wondering to myself, ma'am, how can we listen to the future when the present for many of our Nigerian children is already so dismal?
You're right, it is dismal. And if care is not taken, it's going to continue to get worse. Yeah. According to recent figures we have from UNICEF, there are at least 18 million Nigerian children out of school. And 60% approximately of that figure happen to be girls. And we all know what happens when children are out of school. When girls are out of school, it's very serious because it means that she is going to start producing children early. Any child that she produces, if it's a girl, will end up on the streets selling oranges or bread, and then the same fate will befall that child. If it's a boy, he will end up running around garages and or being recruited by terrorist organizations. And that is how you perpetuate a cycle of generational poverty. So we need to take this very seriously, and there are a whole lot of things that can be done. All the stakeholders concerned need to sit up now and take drastic action before it gets to, it's already late, but as I said, it could be worse. And if you are talking about the future starts now.
It does.
And with these dismal figures we are looking at that you were talking about earlier, how bad do you think it can get?
Okay, so you're often described as a feminist, an activist, and a thinker. What motivated the feminism and activism part of you?
I believe I have my father to thank for that, because from a young age, he taught me that it was important to not only have a voice, but to use it. And as I was growing up, I saw women around me, my aunts, big aunties in the neighborhood who were like, role models or mentors for me. And I could see how their lives, would pan out. And if I ask questions, why is this happening to this woman? Why is she like this? What I would get told is she doesn't have a choice. That is how women's lives are. And so I made a decision very early on that I was going to spend my life ensuring that women have transformative choices. And it should not be taken as a fact or as a norm that women should live lives of exclusion, of indignity, and silence. I define feminism as a global struggle against all forms of patriarchal oppression. And so please note the key words there. Global. It's not a Nigerian struggle or African struggle, it's a global struggle. But we experience it differently. Then we'll talk about struggle. What are we struggling against? We are struggling against institutions, against systems, against processes that devalue women, that dehumanize women. And all these systems and structures and processes are what we call patriarchy. And as feminists, our role is to understand what that means and how patriarchy shapes our lives and governs all the political, economic, social, technological, religious, cultural systems that we engage with on a day-to-day basis. And for women throughout our life cycle. And when people don't pay attention to what this really means in terms of its definition and how we engage with it and so on, it's very easy for them to just cut to shorthand. All feminists hate men. All feminists can get married or stay married.
Yes.
Feminism is not a struggle against individual men. Yes, patriarchal structures are controlled by men, but they also happen to recruit a certain number of women to help sustain or maintain the status quo as gatekeepers. So our struggle as feminists is against these systems and structures. And there are quite a number of men as well who identify as feminists because they believe that these systems of oppression against women are wrong. And they want to be on the right side of development and progress. And so I'd like to encourage particularly young people to stop framing these debates in social media. The feminist movement did not start on social media, and it is not going to die on social media.
And it's not gender wars.
We should stop conflating feminism with misandry. As I've explained earlier, feminism is about struggling against patriarchy, against all the institutions, norms, and values that represents. Misandry is about hating men, and I don't see how that gets to be an agenda. What agenda? How does that help us as a society if we are declaring war against men who are our fathers, our husbands, our brothers, our sons? So let us be serious and focus on the things that need to be done. We were talking earlier about the future and our children and, how we can move from where we are. We cannot move from where we are if we do not accept the fact that for any nation to prosper, women have to have full and equal rights and participation. Otherwise, what we will be doing is trying to clap with one hand, as the late Chifemke Abiola used to put it. And every now and then when I give talks, I ask the men in the audience to clap with both hands. They do. There's a sound that comes out naturally. And then I say, okay, now try and clap
with one hand.
With one hand. And then there's silence. That's what we are talking about. If women continue to be impoverished, marginalized.
This was an absolutely fantastic conversation with Erelu Bisi, the former First Lady of Ekiti State. Lola, I know this was your choice.
It was my favorite. A lot of times I've interacted with a lot of First Ladies. They seem to just occupy the office. But I could see individuality in Mrs. Fayemi, and I'm like, wow. She knows what she's doing, and she's staying the course on what she's trying to put across. And that, for me, and she dropped a lot of nuggets. That is not only that you want people to, you don't want to just hear. You want to be seen. You want to participate. You want to be heard as well. So that women can know that no matter the position you think you're taking, carry your individuality there. Don't allow the office swallow you. Be your person. So that even when you leave the office, there's something we can say. There are many First Ladies that they are beautiful, but they're not vocal. But when I see those that are standing by what they have, I cannot even lie. It was one of my most memorable conversations we had at this table.
And you're very right. Even as we were listening to the last part, she was dropping nuggets, issues around how do you clap with one hand, looking at it being an analogy for how can you progress as a country or an economy when we're literally tying one hand behind our backs with how we continue to disempower and keep women keep women down economically. Then she also talked about feminism, and it's feminism, it's not misandry. There's a whole bunch of things I was so happy we were able to talk on, to touch on with her, and she did absolutely leave a lasting impact. Very gracious, very intelligent. I have a thing for intelligent women. Very gracious, very intelligent. I know we had an interview with the former First Lady of Lagos State, Abimbola Fashola, and she spoke about the role of Nigerian First Ladies, be it at the federal level or at the state level. And yes, it's not a constitutionally recognized role, but I think there is a conversation to be had around them being used as agents of soft power. Even in the US, while there is an office of the First Lady, it's not like it's a constitutional office, you understand? But there's work. We saw the work Michelle Obama used to put into it. We saw the work that Barbara Bush put into it. I don't know how much work Melania Trump put into it, but they had their initiatives, their projects. Sometimes they led national initiatives. I think Obama's initiative had to do with school feeding, like increasing the quality of the food that American children were eating in school. So there's soft power. You know? So it's just an interesting dynamic for us. But I think because of the corruption and the issues we have around the deliverance of governance, Nigerians don't want to hear it because we just see it as another conduit for people to steal money, to siphon money off. But there's a conversation to be had about their own role, both in a seen and unseen political way. Okay, so I think we'll take a break. No, if we get into my own now, we'll enter a break. So let's take a break. When we come back, you'll hear more about the stories that left a lasting impact on us right here on Jasiri. Stay with us. This is Jasiri on a January 1st, 2025 day. I know many of us will continue to say 2024. We'll continue to write it for like the next week and a half, but it's okay. It happens to all of us. So we're looking at the stories and conversations that left a lasting impact on us in this year. In the year 2024. Now, for me, I think by now you all know how passionate I am in advocating for the advancement and empowerment of women. If Giselle Pelicot was Nigerian, without a doubt, she would be my person of the year. But she's not. But her story has stayed with me since I first read about how her husband drugged her and allowed over 70 men to rape her for years while she laid unconscious and helpless. Pelicot got some justice in December 2024, but it's difficult to say the same for victims of rape and femicide in Nigeria. And I remember Lola when she shared the story of the young girl who was raped and how Lola wanted to take the case up, and the parents reached out to her privately and said they don't want wahala. And I can't forget having Chioma Agwuegbo, the convener, State of Emergency GBV, and the executive director of TECHR on Jasiri when we discussed the growing rate of femicide in Nigeria. Take a look. Crime research found that more than half of women and girls who are killed globally died at the hands of an intimate partner or a family member, which equals to a woman or girl being killed every 11 minutes in their home. By the time we finish this show, more than 4 or 5 women would have died in their homes because of the conversation we're having, or in the context of the conversation we're having. While we can see that many women are therefore not safe at home, women are not safe in religious institutions, we're not safe on public buses, we're not safe in schools, we're not safe in markets, we're not safe with our friends, our colleagues, our fellow students, our family members. But it comes back to a lack of value that we place on women's lives and agency. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. So Chioma, how do cultural and social norms, particularly in Nigeria, contribute to the high rates of violence against women?
You know, before I answer that question, you said something that really, really touches my heart. You said women aren't safe anywhere. And maybe I should talk about the reason why, you know, I convened the State of Emergency GBV movement. So my father and my mother are gospel ministers, right? And they have been for over 30, maybe going on 40 years. And so on the 3rd of June, 2020, when we heard that Waila had passed on from injuries suffered in a church, this was during COVID, there was lockdown, she was a student, she decided to go into a church to study, right? And men came in, men, not chickens, not goats, not aliens, men went into that church, met her there, brutally raped her, hit her over the head with a fire extinguisher, and she died from her injuries a few days later. So you tell them to stay at home. Barakat was raped at home in her father's house in Ibadan. She was wearing a full hijab. Waila was raped in a church. This little girl I'm talking about was raped at home. She was 3. So all of the things that people throw up, and when you say values, I wonder if it's as much as the value placed on women and girls as it is the fact that we don't have consequences. The fact that we do not have consequences that are a deterrent enough. If your child, and a number of us on the, in this conversation have children, or at least have proximity to children, if a child does something wrong and you flick them, right, or you smack them, or you put them in the naughty corner, there's a direct correlation between the offense and the consequence. They will probably do it again because they are babies and because they are really young. But you have established, if you do this, this fun is going to be removed from you, or you are going to be removed from this fun. When we do not punish sexual and gender-based violence swiftly, commensurately, and without regard for proximity to power, political affiliation, ethnicity, and all of the silly things that come up in a lot of our countries, we tell people that, you know what, as long as you have money, or as long as you are close to the party in power, or as long as you can twist it in such a way. I remember that a few years ago, a young lady accused a popular musician of raping her. And the media, who can be unfortunately very complicit in these matters, published, in telling the story, published a picture of the girl wearing party wear. She'd gone to a party. They went to her Instagram or something and took a picture of her in very racy party wear, and then published a picture of this musician who is often shirtless in a three-piece suit. You have already colored the minds of everybody who sees that story, because the first thing they're going to think, look at how she's dressing now. And we are not far from judgment in this country. We all agree. Between 2020 and 2023, Nigeria recorded over 27,000 cases of sexual and gender-based violence in 5 states and the FCT. So call it 6 states. 6 states between 2020 and 2023. But I want to say that this number is high, but this number is probably 1/10 of the people who have been abused, who have suffered violations, who have suffered any form of violence in the same period. Why? Because our structures do not support reporting, our structures do not support justice, our structures do not support consequences for perpetrators. I spoke about the 3-year-old who was raped in 2018. This is 2024. Nothing has been done. The police have tossed the mother of this child back and forth. At some point, they told her to collect 70,000 naira from the son of this, I think it was 25,000 naira from the son of this 70-year-old man, because they said, oh, he's old, he will soon die. And she said, when I go to sleep, I see this man inside my child. What is 25,000 naira going to do for me? I want justice so he doesn't do it again. When we talk about violence, when we talk about the fact that the society supports violence, on social media, I think it was last year, we saw a young man, Killer Boy, that's his nickname, confess to murdering his girlfriend. He finished confessing, he fled the country. The brother to this young lady who had been brutally murdered and chopped into pieces followed him to another African country, notified the Nigerian police, look at where this boy is, arrest him, this person killed my sister. He has confessed live on social media. Till today, Killer Boy is walking free. When you talk about the fact that in areas, there are, and oh, by the way, let's talk about the societal response to that. They said things like, oh, when she was spending his money.
No, this was a very difficult conversation to have. Did you see the expressions on all the ladies' face? It was there's some stories when it comes out, it's incredulous.
It's cringe.
And it's cringe-worthy, and you're like, and there is no justice. So it's not closed. That wound is open, it's festering. The people that these things were done to, they are still living it.
Especially that last case you mentioned, this boy is still at large.
Yeah.
He's still at large.
And how would somebody come out and confess to doing something? You see, sometimes specific cases, that's how you know how, when I say selective, the justice system is. Because sometimes you see that they find these people very easily. But the ones that you don't even have to look for right in front of you, you still can't find them. Nothing is done about it.
I don't know. Chioma is always someone that we talk off and on. I know how very active she is in terms of women's empowerment and issues around sexual and gender-based violence. And we had a conversation after this, and there have been a number of other stories. One that is in court, and I hope that very soon we'll be able to talk to the young ladies involved. But it's never ending. Yeah. And I truly believe that, unfortunately, Nigeria does have a rape culture. We protect. We shame victims, we protect abusers, we silence conversations. We are the ones by our very actions who continue to allow these kind of things to happen. And let me tell you, from young age, some will show signs. But yes, there are some who it will just happen. But there are lots of young boys and young men in this country who have shown signs, but there has never been a caught, there's never been a consequence, there's never been justice.
Because there's always
And you know, we talked about the guys who
shaming.
travel out of Nigeria and then within 6 months, a year, they're caught for talking to underage children, to minors, to trying to solicit. And there are times that they want to use culture as a defense. Are we happy to be used as a defense internationally for why people excuse men, grown men, adult men from trying to go after children? We really need to do a rethink and a reflect. And every time I think about this conversation, you're not safe at home, you're not safe in the hospital, you're not safe in church, you're not safe in the mosque, you're not safe on the streets, you're not safe in the market, you're not safe in school. Where are Nigerian
And the
women
fact
and
that
girls
we
safe?
defend it so much that even here, we just culturally, traditionally believe that men are, I'm sorry, but a lot of people give this impression that some men are dogs that can't keep themselves. You would even hear, I was having a conversation with a guy, and the guy was like, if his wife travels for a year or 6 months, his story is going to cheat because body no be firewood.
But they would expect fidelity from her if it was the other way
Let
around.
her be gone as long as Moses has been dead. She must be as pure and sanctified as
That's the
ever.
conversation we need to have this year.
Everything is discipline and choice and intent. You cannot go through life feeling like you're not a wild animal. Then being in the forest, then we know that you're a wild animal.
Exactly.
There's a story that trended online where the woman married her husband and she packed it up after 8 months of marriage.
Oh, yes, DJ Kule.
She said yes.
Yes, and the guy confessed to abusing minors.
She wasn't having it, and she broke down literally. And
Did you see some of the comments?
Yes.
They said that women of this generation, what's wrong with you? Don't know how to endure anymore. That also that why can't she forgive him? That also that they're married, that she should be the one covering his shame. Covering his shame when he molested a 13-year-old and apparently molested 13-year-old's friend. These are, yes, allegations, and we're happy to hear that the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency is involved. But when I was reading the comments, you're expecting endurance for sexual molestation and rape. You're expecting her to cover shame. And then these are the same people who will change their mind when maybe one child gets pregnant, maybe goes for an abortion and say, what was she looking at? You cannot have it both ways.
No,
You can't.
You can't.
Anyway, why we have this doctrine of covering things up? For what? Whose benefit?
For
We're
the
harboring
benefit
them.
of people who continue
We're harboring them and making them
that
have...
they were saying that why sorry, take this for Christmas or take
For
this and
who
buy
was
things in
that?
the house. So Saritella. And that's for you, that's the end of it. Take this and buy, sorry, I won't do it again, sorry.
Oh my
and
God.
that's how the norm.
That's
just
how
been
it has
going
always
on
been.
and on and on. And people assume, oh, but he said sorry now, but he has given money for what damages? I don't know.
Sorry for what they did to you.
What was 25,000 naira going to do for the girl who... And you know, we talk about trauma. We talk about so many Nigerians carrying trauma. The trauma that many Nigerians carry for sexual assault. I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday. I got home and I cried. From the age of 4. And we expect people to be able to function.
Yes.
Please, have you seen
And you're
the
wondering how girls can come out on social media and just blatantly talk about their body in demeaning ways. You do not know. I always know that there's so much
There's a
more
correlation
behind what they've lost sense of value.
And the sad part is they don't even know it because again, we don't prioritize therapy. We don't talk about these things until maybe one day you're having a deep conversation and you find out the reason you hate men or the reason you're obsessed with men is because of the trauma that you've been carrying along with you.
Have you seen a 4-year-old, guys?
Let's move on to the next.
Anyways, this is Jasiri, and today's stroll down memory lane is for the guests and conversations that had a lasting impact on us. I am the single Pringle on this table. I don't really know what's happening with Catherine, but I can speak for myself.
When you're ready to tell us, you'll tell us.
When she's ready, she'll say. But even as the single one, the conversation we had with Dr. Tolulope, not her, Tolulope Okoye-Gari, about sexual wellness has stuck with me. It kind of scarred me, man. She is a renowned Nigerian sexologist, and she was with us to discuss an issue that we keep hitting away, but it's an issue that is breaking homes and causing shame, insecurity, and unhappiness within many people. And this was a needed conversation. Whether I needed it, I don't know, but it was a needed conversation on common misconceptions about sexuality and the importance of open communication in relationships and marriages. Let's take a look.
Misconceptions that people have about sexual intimacy, and why would you say that people see sexual expression, especially conversations like this, as sort of a taboo?
I think it's cultural conditioning. The way we were raised, most of the time, parents won't discuss sex with their children or teenagers. And when we are talking about sex education, we are not talking about how to make love. They are not the same thing. Yeah. So you should teach children, there should be sex education. In fact, it should be taught in our school. So most of the time, the only education that you have around sex is when a man touches you, you get pregnant. When you touch a girl, she gets pregnant. So the details, how do I avoid this? What does this mean? Puberty, all of this new development that I'm seeing in my body, what does it mean? So you don't get to know anything. So you start finding it on your own. The reason why our parents are not even teaching us is, number one, they don't even have the information. And then number two, they would rather put fear in your mind because they feel like at least that is a way of safeguarding you or them, but that is like a fire brigade approach. So that's one of the major problems. So we were not taught about sex. And as adults, the culture, even it developed what there's still the problem, but it's crazy around here because, if you Google, I think 2 years ago, the most Googled word, I read that somewhere in Nigeria, the most Googled question was how to have sex. Yes, so you could check this out. So to let you, Nigeria is, and again, according to research, you check it out as well, Nigeria is one of the most how do I put it now? When it comes to having sex, Nigerians have the most having sex. Right. So we are having sex, but we are so ignorant about it. Yeah. So in a lot of cases, couples are having problems because of ignorance, and then because of the cultural conditioning. A lot of things that are being put in your head while you were growing up, you don't just wake up and start thinking differently. So they are going to affect the way you see sex, the way you react to it, the way you relate to it. And that's why I tell couples, if you are fighting your partner from now till eternity, you are fighting a lost battle because the hard way does not understand what you are trying to change, right? Wow. So, yeah. So, the major problem around this conversation, like I said, I think is cultural conditioning, and I think also ignorance. Intimacy is beyond sex. Yeah. You should be able to be friends, to communicate, to be vulnerable, to communicate, to engage at a deeper
beyond sex. Beyond sex. It is.
Why are you pointing? So that was actually a very important conversation because I like that she spotlighted a lot of things that people were shying away from, and she the only challenge I had was some things that I had never heard before, and I think I was sitting there, and she had to say, "I can see how disturbing, ma'am.
I wish we took that.
That's part of it because I'm not gay.
So look, if blessings could disappear,
she would. She
was so uncomfortable.
But we should talk about these things because a lot of people are going through so many sexual issues that education could have taken care of. But because they do not know, everybody is just fishing in the dark. And it's that conversation you don't want people to hear. As long as you are married, it is assumed that you are having sex in your home.
Do you know that some people still look at pregnant women as
like, how did this happen?
Sex? I'm married.
I'm like, for God's sake, even we're touting married. Couples, relationships, people are having sex every day. And that is why sexual education needs to be taught. Sexual education is not teaching children about sex.
No.
It's teaching them sex education, what it is.
Sexuality.
Even knowing their own bodies.
Menstruation.
What works, what this does.
How you can get pregnant. And my issue with many parents, particularly those who don't want sex education taught, is that you're not teaching.
Yes.
You just want a blanket over it. Somehow, you just assume that once they get married, they'll know. As Lola was saying, fishing in the dark. There are couples who struggle to consummate. I'm looking for his morning show. There are couples that struggle to consummate that who did not know.
I told you a funny story many years that they said this couple, they belong to that very conservative Christian sect. And they said they've been having sex for like 2 years. The only reason why they went to hospital was because she wasn't conceived.
I remember the story.
She wasn't
Remember you're on morning TV when you finish why they
I know.
Very quickly.
But they were doing it wrong. The husband was going through the wrong entrance. For 3 years.
It's okay. I said remember you're on morning TV.
That's the naivety we're talking about. Because Lolo was just telling you how the thing
It
happened.
was so weird when I heard the story.
I'm trying to think of being the nurse. And then you're not having to tell them to, please tell me exactly what you're doing. Where are you putting? Catherine, we don't have time. Your story.
I'm sorry, but this thing reminds me of it. There's a movie I saw. The lady said that her asthma just won't relieve her. And the guy was like, have you been using your inhaler? She said, yeah. Show me how you use it. She's like, and he goes, your asthma won't go. You're stuck with it for life.
Well, that's funny now, but it's not funny.
No,
and I think we need to bring Dr. Tolulope back about bring intimacy. This whole conversation around sex is not intimacy. It's a form of it, but it is not. It's not the totality of it. And some people. Let me not say what I want to say.
February.
Because I'm thinking about O's. Let me not talk about O's on. Let's not talk about O's on this table.
Awareness month.
Catherine, we have 5 minutes.
Yeah. Go, girl.
Go now.
So I like how I'm the one to go last because my choice was one of our very first guests on Jasiri.
Really?
So trust me when I say Deola Kingsley James did some education on that episode, breaking down trauma and trauma responses. We talk about it a lot on this table. Trauma and how you respond to trauma. I'm thinking we'll have her again because we need to start our year hearing about things like this and how to deal with things like this, unhealthy standards, sacrifices, expectation. Okay, I'm talking too much. Let's watch the video.
We're a sum total of our nature and nurture. Yeah. So you think you are a Lolo, but you are the person they say Lolo is. Right? And so if you've grown up with parents or a mother, for example, who believes that I'm meant to dote on my husband and do everything for him because maybe she saw her mother do that, you most likely will do that. Now, you could wake up one morning and say, you know what, all that nonsense that my mother took, I'm not taking it anymore. I ain't gonna make nothing for nobody. You can decide that I'm changing my identity. I'm not taking that. And I think that's where maybe somewhat this feminist movement started from, because we saw some of the things that our mothers went through, and we're like, I'm not taking this thing anymore. We saw how they lost themselves for their families, because you said something very key. A traditionalist to you is somebody who eats last, right? That is trauma to start with. Why would you eat last? Why would you choose yourself last? And most women do that. If you put children, husband, put it in the form of priority, you're always why? You've got to be first. I mean, you put all of that. So now, why would I eat last? Why do I want? They say, he who is last is less best. Or what's that thing?
So this was just a facet of the conversation we had with Deola Kingsley James, therapist, bright and beautiful, bold woman. And she will be joining us tomorrow. Thankfully, you brought it up. So she's going to be talking, and she's going to be here on the show tomorrow as we look at leveling up in 2025. But Kat, particularly, you always... Sorry.
I know,
we're almost done. It's the first day. But Kat, you particularly talked about the fact that she always somehow speaks to you.
She speaks to you, makes you uncomfortable. She just gets into you, like filters through you, like seeps through you. In as much as you want to struggle, you want to argue with what she's saying, you know that somehow deep down, she's making sense. So I think it's that discomfort that people don't really like to hear, especially when it has to do with, you tell somebody, I think you're dealing with trauma. The first response is, why?
I'm not dealing with my Jesus name.
It's not in my lens. It's not my portion. It's not my portion.
But the truth is, you're dealing with some form of trauma. It's not a bad thing, but it's when you leave it to filter into other aspects of your life and let it affect you negatively, then that is the cocoa.
Let's round up.
We're rounding up now.
Today's first. I want to go cook fried rice.
Bring our own tomorrow.
Never.
What's inside the fried rice?
I am not cooking beyond that house pot.
What's inside the fried rice? What things are you putting?
Can't take us away.
Fried rice, you can add it.
Yeah, if you see the liver I bought for 2,000 naira, is just like this. So it's non-existent. It's just going to be specks of black.
Just cook yellow rice and fill it with carrots and onions.
Keratin. I'm going to put loads of carrots. It's healthy. Just veggies.
Can we go?
Who's broccoli and all those things?
Broccoli.
Let's go.
All right, so thank you guys for joining us on this special first day of 2025. As we look ahead to the year to come, please remember that Jesu is here as your companion for every bold conversation, every groundbreaking story, and every call for change. Together, we will continue to shine a light on the issues that matter. We'll celebrate people driving progress. We'll navigate the challenges ahead with courage, clarity, and boldness. So here is an incredible year ahead. Stay bold, stay inspired. We'll see you next time on Jasiri.